from Majority, Chair recognizes Councilwoman Bass.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to point out something that happened last night up in Harrisburg, speaking of Harrisburg, and we as a council have been working on the issue surrounding the overexposure of alcohol in many of our communities for many years. Councilwoman Blackwell really coined the phrase stop and go, and her efforts along with yours, Council President, and really all of my colleagues are continually thwarted by some of the things that do happen in Harrisburg around this particular issue. You know, this issue is very damaging to the Commonwealth's largest city, Philadelphia. We need help and we need a partnership on this particular issue. We've been asking on liquor licenses, we've been asking on gun laws, and there is a connection between what happens in our neighborhoods and how these things are happening, and the fact that they've been legalized often without any sort of public input, any sort of public comment, and they just are happening in our neighborhoods without folks knowing. The latest thing that happened overnight in Harrisburg was that there was a vote taken in the state Senate to amend some liquor laws, which would most notably allow beer distributors to now sell smaller quantities of beer from a six-pack to a single can. So now they would be able, if Governor Wolf signs this piece of legislation, they would be able to compete with stop-and-gos that sell single cans of beer and malt liquor. And so the question is, how many of these establishments do we need in our community? As I had mentioned before, I have 26 of these types of establishments, stop-and-gos in my community, in my district, and this would clearly increase the number of outlets where you would be able to purchase single cans of beer, alcohol, and with this increased continuous exposure and consumption of alcohol among a very vulnerable population, I think that it's time for all of us to call on Governor Wolf to say, we need help. We need for him to really look at this piece of legislation and to not sign it. And so I would urge that folks would reach out and say, we just really cannot absorb any more of this in Philadelphia. You know, we have to understand that Philadelphia is not the same as Cambria County or Potter County, or, you know, they really have to understand that what we need is so very different from what other folks need. And again, these stop-and-gos, they, you know, 90% of those in my district sell no food. They don't have restrooms available for their customers. They don't have the tables and chairs. All of these are requirements to have their restaurant license, and they don't have any of it. So we need some help on this issue, and I just really want to urge folks to pay attention and to reach out to the governor's office as soon as possible. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thanks for your diligence on that. And I do want to say, Councilwoman, there was some discussion by members of the Philly delegation about addressing some of those issues. So we'll do a follow-up and have a sit-down with them over the next.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I did speak with Senator Hughes this morning about this particular issue. And so I did want to also acknowledge and thank Senator Hughes, Williams, and Kitchen for standing up and speaking out against this and saying what a detrimental effect it would have here on the city of Philadelphia. So they really clearly get it, and I want to acknowledge them as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. We will